Are you tired of building the same style of house over and over? Well, I took 10 of the most common house styles across America and built them in Minecraft. And stay tuned till the end where I show you the best house. So, first up, we have the farmhouse. So, the farmhouse originated in Europe, but entered the US around the 1700s. Now, farmhouses were built mostly in rural farmland, obviously. They were mostly made from wood and sometimes could feature stone. And the reason why they were made out of wood was because wood was easy to obtain and build with, and most farmhouses are built very large because they were designed to store lots of materials. Now, farmhouses have actually been very much modernized recently, and they've grown in popularity. You can find a lot of farmhouses in rural areas of the US today, and usually they've been modernized with modern features, and they're still quite large. Now, as for the interior, farmhouses are usually very spacious, feature open floor plans, and have tons of windows for bright and natural lighting. So here you can see I have designed a farmhouse in Minecraft. You can see it's quite large, and I featured a large front balcony, which is definitely ups the curb appeal. It looks great in the front of the house here. Tons of detail, a lot of walking space here in the front. I subtly decorated this front area as well. And I went with the pale oak wood because I thought the whites would work very nice for this farmhouse in particular. As for the roof, I wanted to go for some lighter contrast, so we decided to use polished tuff rather than something like deep slate because we still have a contrast, but it's a bit lighter of a contrast. And you can see, to add in that rustic charm, I used tons of spruce elements around, as well as oak wood, and that adds a lot of rustic elements to make it look like a proper farmhouse. And you can see as well, this front porch has 3 entrances. We have one in the front center and 2 on each side. You can see we went with a very symmetrical design there with a large chimney on that side, which actually makes it asymmetrical just a little bit. Tons of greenery and plant life because, you know, this is supposed to be built in a rural setting. I also made a small porch area in the rear as well, because I didn't want it to leave it so plain in the back. And coming around the side, you can see it's detailed in a very clean and aesthetic way. I added on the sides 2 little dormers as well. So now let's head inside and see what the floor plan is looking like. So I didn't do the interior of any of these builds, but if you guys would like to see a fully furnished interior, I can do that in another video. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. But coming in, we step down a block, as you can see, and we have a very wide open floor plan. Maybe we can add a kitchen in one of these sides where we step down even further. Maybe one can be like a living space, living area. And we also have a back door as well, right there. So very symmetrical design. And then front and center, I added a staircase, left it kind of open here. And you come up and you can go either left or right. It's all symmetrical. And we have another open floor plan. Probably have a room on this side and another room on that side, but I left it open. And then last but not least, we have a ladder that goes up to an attic area, which you could do whatever you would like in here, probably some storage. And that is the floor plan of this house with a large, spacious interior and tons of wood, rustic elements, as well as some occasional stone elements like the flooring here and the tuff over here as well. All right, next up, we have the Tudor style house. So a lot of people don't even know what this style really is, and I was one of those people. But the Tudor style is almost like a modern adaptation of the medieval style of house. It became very popular in the 1910s, 1920s, so early 20th century. They are usually made out of stone, brick, and wood, and they are iconic for having the wood framing, as you can see here in the front of the house on the second story. Tudor houses usually have a normal or steep pitched roof, just like so, and they are iconic for having multiple gables. Now, a gable is the top part of the wall that is attached to the roof. So you can see right up here would be the gable, and then everything below would just be the regular wall of the house. Tudor houses have very unique roof lines and roof shapes that add quite a bit of detail. Tudor houses would come in all shapes and sizes, from small, medium, or large. And since these houses are more medieval styled and old school, they would have a closed floor plan for the interior with tons of wood and rustic accents. So Here is the Tudor house that I have designed. You can see I used a lot of stone materials for the base here, such as stone brick, regular clean stone, and andesite. On the first floor, we have some spruce and dark oak accents all around to add that rustic nature back. Then on the second story, you can see I utilized stripped birch wood to get that contrast from our dark oak accents everywhere, which also have that iconic wood framing. And you can see it adds for some great contrast. And I even utilized like brown stained glass to kind of extend that framing and match with our dark oak as well. So you can see I actually designed it pretty minimally on the outside, but it has just enough detail to look pretty awesome. Here's the side profile. It's also a very symmetrical design that I went for, but they're not always symmetrical. And here's the rear here. We have a little entryway in the rear and also in the front. Add a little garden area as well. Kept it fairly simple. And this side is pretty much a copy of the other side. Very symmetrical. And here's the front. We have two little garden sections, left and right, and then our entryway. We also did 2 chimneys, completely symmetrical. And again, these houses could be both asymmetrical or symmetrical. It didn't really matter. And you can see we even use the spruce signs, kind of extra fortification and trimming to separate the second and the first floor. So now let's head inside. So you can see the front door. We enter, and these interiors would be a lot more closed off. So I wanted to add a lot of walls and a lot of separation here. You can see I haven't completely closed everything off yet, but each one of these little segments could be a room. This could be a room. This could be a room here. We could close all of this off. I even added some walls here to separate this kind of center area from the side areas here. So we could technically already have 4 rooms on the first floor. We could even add another room over here if we wanted to. And I added a very simple like U-shaped staircase right here that we can head up to the second story. And we did pretty much the same thing. You can see I added in a darker wood floor here. It looks very rustic and contrasts really nice against our birch wood everywhere. And yeah, you can see I didn't really add an attic. I actually just kept it, I kept the roof line very tall here. I wanted to showcase a lot of the wood pillars around, as you can see. Makes it look very rustic and very medieval as well. But yeah, all of these could be separated into rooms. This could be a room over here in itself. This whole long stretch could be a room. Have a room here. And to be honest, you could add on a third floor. If you started a floor on this block right here, you could have like a little attic area for even more space. And yeah, that's the interior of the Tudor style house. We have 4 different doors, 1 on each side, and lots of space on the interior with a closed floor plan. All right, next up, we have the Cape Cod style house. Now, the Cape Cod was a historical style of house popular in New England back in the 1600s. Cape Cods are really small houses. They're generally small to medium sized, and they were known for their symmetry. They were generally made out of wood and easy to obtain materials, and they usually featured double or triple dormers in the front or in the front and the back. And they usually featured a 1.5-story layout, the half being just an attic. Now, as for the interior of the Cape Cod house, they usually had smaller, closed-off rooms. They were known for having a central fireplace for heating, and they usually featured a small and narrow staircase. And yeah, that's really it for the Cape Cod house. And you can see here, I have built a very tiny but cozy Cape Cod style house. Now, I actually grew up in New England, so I saw these around all the time. Very cozy looking house. Now, I wanted to try something different, so I went with the warped wood. I think it came out really great. This is almost like a Cape Cod house that you would find like near the water. Then for some light contrast, I went with a mixed tough roof, and I think it came out great. And then we added the occasional birch accent. Actually, I think like this cream color goes really good with the warped blue color. And then we also have some occasional spruce sprinkled here and there. In the front here, we have a double dormer. We have a central front door. Everything's very symmetrical, as you can see. We have 4 windows in the front, just on the first floor. And then we have 2 smaller windows for our dormers up there. So tons of natural lights and windows everywhere. And we even have like a little, some hedges, some bushes around, which is very common for these kinds of houses. So coming around the side, you can see here's a side profile. I did a double dormer, so we have one in the front and one in the back to get that symmetry. And on this side, you can see we just have a single window. I wanted to add a lot of detail around the window, keep the rest kind of open and bare. And then here's our side window as well for the half story up above. And then I added a little chimney over here on the side. Now, traditionally, it would actually be in the center for the old school style of Cape Cod, but I went with a more modern style. So I wanted to add it kind of on the side here. And you can see the door in the back is actually not symmetrical. So I did want to have a back door and I made it not symmetrical just to add some variation back here. We have the same dormers repeated back here. And then we have 2 windows back here as well, all having the birch trap doors as shutters. And now coming over to this side, you can see it's pretty much the same thing, minus the chimney. And now let's enter the interior. So you can see I made a little tiny front balcony. You just step up right here and then you enter. I love the orange copper door that contrasts against this blue wood. You can enter. You can see we would have a closed floor plan. So we probably like section this off into maybe like 2 rooms or maybe like a central hallway or something. Again, I didn't do the interior yet, but if you guys really want to see an interior, like the video and comment, and I'll do the full interiors for all these builds. So yeah, I'd probably section off this interior in a certain way. Maybe have like a thin hallway that leads to the staircase and the back door. And then maybe have like a room right here for some storage maybe. Maybe have a room here. And then you can see I did like a little 90-degree staircase. So we go up here. And this is our half story. So it's more like an attic. But this would feature like some bedrooms or some like smaller rooms up here. You can also add a basement, actually. You know, that's actually popular in houses in New England. So you could definitely just have the staircase going down into a basement if you wanted to have some extra space. But yeah, that's an example of a Cape Cod house in Minecraft. If you're enjoying the video so far, I would appreciate it if you subscribed. We're so close to our goal of 50K. And now back to the video. All right, next we have the ranch style house. So the ranch style house became very popular in Southern California around the 1920s to the 1940s. Now, ranch style houses are known for being very wide and being single story homes. They are generally made out of brick, wood, or stone, or all of the above. And ranch style houses actually feature tons of asymmetry. So nothing was designed to be symmetrical at all. They're also built very low to the ground. As you can see, we don't even step up to enter the house. It's all built on ground level. And they usually had a lower pitched roof, as you can see here. And they also featured unique shaped windows, usually larger windows for tons of natural light. And extension bits and pieces were very common with ranch style homes as well. Ranch style homes are known for having a very open floor plan, vaulted ceilings because there's only 1 story. And they were designed for pretty much single story living, mostly for convenience, and because they were built in such wide open areas. Now you can see here, I have a beautiful ranch style house that I made in Minecraft. Now this one honestly took me a while to make, I won't lie, because of all the detail, asymmetry, and shapes you can see all around. So first things first, let's start with the materials. You can see I actually used mangrove wood combined with end stone. Now it's a very unique combination, and then you can see for the roof, I just used a bunch of deep slates. Very unique combination, but man, this color scheme came out great. So you can see I kind of went with like a modern ranch. I have like the traditional like mowed lawn design where I just use like moss blocks alternating with grass blocks to make it look like a lawn. Tons of greenery all around that contrasts against our mangrove wood. And yeah, the front just has tons of detail. You can see we have a section here. We have like so many different shapes. This comes out by 2 blocks. This comes out another block for our doorway. We have large windows everywhere with shutters. Large windows, sometimes with no shutters. Try to mix around the end stone to break up a lot of the red here and there. You can see like this piece is all just the end stone and the brick. And then we have another piece extending out by like 5 blocks here. We have 3 tall windows right here. We have another piece that's kind of like the main section right there that goes back in 2 more blocks with another large window right here. So tons of unique shapes and extension bits like everywhere. You know, you just start with like a base shape and you add extension bits here and there, smaller and smaller as they keep coming out, and it adds for a very unique looking shape. Let's come around the side here. You can see I kept it fairly simple. You know, we just have 3 tall windows here on the side. This part I kept actually fairly symmetrical. And then coming around the rear, you can see we have this large piece right here with the double large windows. And then we even have like a little chimney coming around right here. I made it out of diorite just to try something different. I think it came out pretty cool. We have a back door right here coming out of an extension piece with a double door. And then here is the other large section of the house you can see in the back with a large window right there as well. And then this is the side profile of that large room, another large window. So yeah, tons of detail. And you can see the roof was pretty damn complicated to make, but it came out very good. It looks really nice. I love the little ribbons of azalea leaves that I added. I think it breaks up the deep slate. Very nice. So let's enter the inside and see what the floor plan is looking like for this house. So we have double doors, both in the front and the back. And you enter, and you can see everything is wide open. Tons of natural light and windows everywhere. And we have our vaulted ceilings as well. It's all single story, as you can see. Yeah, it looks pretty awesome. So you probably have like 1 or 2 rooms, maybe isolated, but the rest I'd keep very open to get that natural light, open feel. I'm actually really excited to do the interior for this one because, man, the possibilities are just endless. I can only imagine what you can do in here. So seriously, guys, if you want me to do this interior, like the video and subscribe. All right, next up we have Colonial. So colonial houses were very popular around the 16 and 1700s, and they actually originated in Great Britain, and they eventually made their way into the US during those years that I mentioned, during the 16 and 1700s. And actually, fun fact, colonial houses are actually the most popular style of house in the US, even today. Colonial houses were mostly made out of brick, wood, or stone. They're actually very simple in their design. They usually have a box or rectangular shape, and they're also very symmetrical. So they're known for their simple, symmetrical design. They also feature taller windows with decorated shutters. They generally have a central door and central or dual chimneys. As for the interior floor plan, colonial style homes are known for having a closed floor plan, and they are generally multi-story homes, usually 2 to 3 stories, and they usually feature a central staircase. So here we are in Minecraft with a beautiful colonial style home made out of brick, and you can see it is completely symmetrical. And yeah, I'm actually loving this block palette. Very simple, but very clean as well. So you can see we just have a giant rectangular brick kind of slab here, featuring some granite as well to break it up. We featured accents in diorite and spruce, as well as a polished deep slate roof. You can see very simple roof, very simple shape. This is the side here. We have 1 chimney on each side, so we have the symmetrical kind of layout. We have 3 dormers at the top there, keeping it very symmetrical. Tons of windows in the front. 9 windows just in this front brick piece right here with a central door. We even have like a little entryway right in the center as well with a bunch of white accents. And I actually love these warped trap doors. They look very decorative as window shutters. We have like a little shelf in front of each window featuring some sort of detail or decoration. I wanted to go with more of like the spruce kind of theme here, and the podzol. I think it came out pretty cool. So coming around the side, you can see very symmetrical, 4 windows right there, chimney going up. It's pretty much the exact same on the other side as well. And then in the back, we have pretty much the same thing in the front. So yeah, very symmetrical, even design here. We even featured some spruce accents with the signs right here for like extra trimming, and the trap doors as well to trim the roof. And last but not least, we added in some taiga leaves up here, pine leaves. I think they look good, hanging down the front and the back of the house. So now let's enter and see what the floor plan is looking like. So we enter here, you can see it's still very open right now, but ideally we'd have a central hallway probably, and then we have tons of rooms on the left and right, and then probably a central staircase. So you can see I kind of left these holes open in the center to feature central staircases, tons of places for rooms on the left and right, and we have that symmetry as well. So here's a second story. I left it open on the side just so we can go up and down. But yeah, ideally this floor would go all the way and attach to the wall. Everything would be closed off. I even left open spaces for potential fireplaces on every floor, actually, besides the attic. And yeah, even as an attic up here, we have tons of height, tons of space even. But yeah, like the interior of this would be very interesting. I would have to add tons of walls here. I didn't add any of the walls just yet. I wanted to save it for the interior video, but I wanted to keep it very open just so you guys can kind of see like the amount of space that I'm working with. And then obviously the back door here with our rear entrance, pretty much the same as the front. And yeah, that's pretty much the floor plan layout of the colonial style house. Okay, so next we have the Mediterranean style house. Mediterranean houses are actually Italian and Spanish inspired homes that were obviously popular in Europe around the Mediterranean Sea. Now they started to become popular in the early 20th century here in the US, and they're usually designed for warmer climates. So because of the fact that they're designed for warmer climates, they were usually made with terracotta, mud, and bricks, and they usually had very thick walls. So these materials plus the thick walls would help keep out the heat in these warmer climates. So modern Mediterranean homes are usually more high-end, they're a bit more expensive because they're actually very heavy in detail and they're very stylistic look. And as for the interior, they usually feature a very open floor plan and larger rooms. So you can see here in Minecraft, I have designed a Mediterranean style house. Now, obviously, I used stripped jungle wood, but it kind of looks like clay or terracotta with some more texture, and that's why I wanted to use it. Actual terracotta and clay just don't have enough texture really in Minecraft, or don't have like the right texture that I'm really looking for. So that's why I like to use stripped jungle wood actually, which is a very not commonly used block at all, but it really can look like a terracotta or like a mud. And yeah, I think it came out great. It also works really well with all the jungle wood accents because they're actually a little different in terms of color from each other. And then as for all the roof lines and the roof area, I just simply used granite and polished granite. It's a very monochromatic look, but it looks really nice with like the earth tones and such. So here we have a beautiful Mediterranean house. You can see they were very asymmetrical in their designs because of how detail heavy they are. So you can see that here, every little piece of the house looks very different, very unique. Lots of extension bits sticking out here and there, and lots of windows as well. Usually taller windows, but lots of windows for tons of natural light. Now you can see we have, you know, good amount of detail here and there with the window shutters, the trap doors everywhere, the little ledges in front of the windows, tables, etc. So yeah, here's the front of the house. We have a little mud path that kind of goes to the front door right there. I love how that mangrove door actually contrasts against the jungle wood. We have, you know, a little bit of fencing over here. Now coming around the side, you can see I even added in a lot of these acacia trees. I think they fit the theme very nice. And here's the side here. Very unique shape, very unique design. This one definitely took me a bit longer to get the shape down of the house. Now here's the rear. See, it's very similar to the front actually, but just kind of mirrored and reversed. And then coming around the side here, we have like the largest room. Here it's a bit more symmetrical. So yeah, now let's go inside the house and see what the floor plan is looking like. So we enter the first floor. You can see we're greeted with our back door actually almost immediately. But then we can go either left or right. So let's actually go right side first. You can see we have an area that we drop down. Now this could be like a kitchen, dining room, living room, whatever you really want it to be. I kept that open because it's like extra room, but you can just close that off if you really want to. Yeah, you can see I added in some like unique elements here with like the floorings and detailing. Now the interior of these kind of houses would also be like more heavy in detail as these houses are more high end. But then coming over to the left side, you can see we drop down in another area. Maybe this could be like, I don't know, reading area. You can see I added in a little staircase here on this side. Very like uniquely styled one too. Wanted to add in a lot more detail here. And this could probably be a grand entryway into like a family or living room right here. This is like the largest room. So yeah, that's the first floor. Now let's head up the second story with our unique little staircase here. It's kind of like a very unique, almost like double L shape here. So you come up here and here's the second story. Now the shape up here is very unique. You could probably leave like this central portion open for the most part. This could be like a little room right here, a longer room, but it could definitely be a room nonetheless. You could even make this portion a room right here if you wanted to. And this one could probably be like the master bedroom or something. So now it's more of like a medium-sized house, not really small, but you could definitely have some cool, larger rooms with this style. And it's a very unique shape as well. So that is the Mediterranean house, guys. All right, next up we have the Craftsman. So the Craftsman style is very unique. It's an American style, actually, inspired by arts and craft. Now, it was popular in like the late 19th to mid 20th century, and it originated in actually Southern California. This style is alternatively known as the bungalow, as you've probably heard before. And usually these houses are like smaller to medium sized. And generally speaking, they're made from usually wood and stone or a combination of the two. So the main theme of this house was like having a smaller to medium sized house with tons of design and detail. And that would also include the landscaping. Usually these houses were also more detailed in their landscaping as well. Hence the name Craftsman for the arts and craft, you know. Craftsman homes were also known to have lots of overhang areas, large dormers, and they were usually 2-story. They were also known to have exposed beams, especially like in the front or the rear of the house, and usually featured a front porch. And as for the interior of the house, they were usually 2 stories or 1.5 story, and the interior featured tons of detail and design. So these were definitely the designer's home on a much smaller scale. So you can see here, we have a Craftsman house built in Minecraft. We have that iconic front porch, which was very common with the exposed beams. Iconic for the Craftsman house, we have a large dormer right up top, overhanging, which is also featured in the rear of the house as well. You can see I actually wanted to keep it a bit more asymmetrical, so I added like a little dormer right there on the left side. I tried to do as much landscaping here as I could. Like I wanted to keep the front yard like very interesting. So we have like this weird kind of path, fencing, bushes around here and there. Maybe you could add like little gardens and stuff around to go extra with the landscaping. But these houses were definitely known for having lots of landscaping. So I actually wanted to go for a lighter wood tone. So I went with the stripped birch wood. I think it came out really nice with some spruce accents. And then we have obviously the deep slate roof. And I wanted to go with like a different deep slate for the front porch roof versus the rest of the house. And then you can see on the left side, we have a little chimney right over there. So let's make our way to the side of the house. You can see we have 2 large windows here. Very simple roof shape right there with a good amount of detail and decoration. Since I wanted to stick with the theme of the Craftsman, you can see we have the same porch back here. And some Craftsman homes even had the porch wrapped around the whole side of the house or the entire front into the back. But the porch was definitely iconic for the Craftsman house. So coming around the last side here, we have our extension bit. Very simple, very clean here. We still have a good amount of detail. And yeah, it's like a medium-sized house, but very clean and pretty decent amount of detail as well. So let's make our way to the interior and see what we're looking at here. So you can see here, we enter the inside. We have our beamed ceiling right here, which would be the next floor. Here's our extension bits. Kind of added like a little loft area maybe that we could work with since we had a lot of height in this spot. And here's another room here. Kept it kind of open for now, but could have rooms down here as well, or you can leave it open, either or. And then we have a little 90-degree staircase right here. We head up here. This is almost like a 1.5-story Craftsman house, but if you wanted to make this a bit taller, have a taller roof line, it could be definitely considered a 2-story as well. And yeah, that's a very simple house, very simple design, simple interior. Although it's simple in its shape, it's still very detail heavy on the outside and on the inside. Contemporary or modern? The contemporary or modern house is actually the most recent style popularized in the 21st century, and it was designed to be more of like a futuristic minimal aesthetic. So contemporary style houses have tons of individuality and a lot of unique elements. They accentuate minimalism, and they're usually asymmetrical as well to accentuate how unique they are. They have clean lines, geometric shapes, and they're usually built with eco-friendly materials such as concrete, wood, brick, stone, even glass. They're usually built in very unique colors, usually neutral or earth tones, and sometimes the colors can be a little crazy as well. They feature large windows with tons of glass everywhere for natural lighting, and they usually have arched or rectangular roof designs. Now, as for the interior, it's usually an open floor plan, tons of natural light because of those large windows, and the interior features very minimalist designs, simple shapes, and simple colors. So, you can see here, guys, I have a gorgeous contemporary / modern house in Minecraft now. Holy, this house was very difficult to make. It took me a very long time, I won't lie. This is probably one of the hardest ones that I actually made. Maybe I can say the last one was a bit harder, but wow, this thing came out awesome. Now, I'm so glad I went with the acacia logs because it's so unique. And I know the orange is a bit bold, but in this case, I think it works because it's almost acting like an earth tone because of all the other brown tones that I have around it. So we have tons of spruce and dark oak accents everywhere. And then to top it all off, we have a deep slate tile roof that kind of grounds the entire build. And honestly, the black and the orange look so great together as well. Yeah, this one came out pretty cool. Now, I have tons of like greenery around. You can see I kind of went like minimal with the flowers and just kept it like more catered to like bushes and ferns and those kind of plants. And yeah, I think that decision with the green, the bushes, and the ferns was like a great choice because it looks a lot more modern. Like those plants, modern designs feature like green plants and less flowers. So I wanted to accentuate that here. You can see, I think it came out awesome. Tons of unique shapes. I mean, like, look at this entryway. It's so unique. We have tons of garden beds around. We even have one on the left side here. And then we use the andesite as our pathing, which is a great neutral colored block. Now, honestly speaking, I think contemporary and modern is actually great for Minecraft because Minecraft is very blocky, as you can see. So you can actually make some great designs. Now, I think where a lot of people fail when building contemporary in Minecraft is they keep it too simple, right? You can see here, it's obviously simple design, but I did add a bunch of detail around here and there to kind of lift it up and give it that edge. So here on the side, we have like a little garden bed. You know, I wanted to feature a little bit of flowers here. So I just have the simple white and pink flowers there. The rest is all green and bushes. I even added like these little pieces of clay / mud. Very unique little towers. And on top is like a little garden as well. I added those, you can see all around right there. And I love how the potted azalea bush looks too, because it's a bit larger of a plant, but it's still in a pot. A very like modern look, as you can see. So, and then you can see in the front, I got the orange stained glass, large windows. Even have a balcony here with a door with the glass blocks around it, so you know it doesn't look weird. Still kind of looks a little weird, but that's fine. And yeah, down here we have a large window, orange stained glass as well. And then on the right side, we have these kind of windows that almost wrap around. They're very unique. And yeah, I think it's a really cool look. See tons of greenery, a very like large garden bed that I created with the spruce trap doors here. Made like a little custom skinny tree right there. Looks very modern. And yeah, here's a side profile here. Any empty spaces, I just added like a little potted plant there, like a taller one. And you can see this garden bed wraps all the way around to the rear, just like so right there. We even have one of these big pieces coming up as well with another garden bed on top of that. And some more like 90-degree wraparound windows right there. Then we have our back entrance, which is like another kind of L shape that goes up. Wanted to keep it different. And this one is actually connected to the back balcony, as you can see. We have some great outdoor lighting here with the lanterns. With the doorways, I wanted to use the copper bulbs. They look very modern, very nice, very high tech. And then coming around the side over here, it's very simple. I actually kept it mostly symmetrical on this side. And yeah, that's about it for the exterior. So now let's enter the interior and see what it's looking like. So obviously to enter, we have to come up this very unique entryway. We have a little overhang area and then we come in. Now what's very unique about this house is the entry is actually on the second floor, which made the rest of the interior very unique. So let's enter here. So you can see we enter on the second floor and we're met with the back door right there. So let's actually make our way to the left side first. So we're still on the second story here. We can have like a large open room here. This could be anything. This could be like a kitchen. This could be a living area, dining area, whatever. It could be a mix of two of them. And here's the front balcony right here. And then we have the rear balcony as well. And this actually connects to the back door area, as you can see. So very unique design, very unique layout and floor plan. Let's make our way over to the right side of the house. You can see I wanted to do like almost like a little catwalk or like a walkway, keep it very unique, but also keep it open at the same time. So you can see here, you can drop down a block. There's a little catwalk that goes to this side. I don't know, like this could be anything, like a loft area, but it's all like open floor plan. And let's make our way down to the first floor. So you can see I have like a 90-degree staircase that connects to our catwalk with like a pillar that goes all the way up. And then we have a large open floor plan from the first floor that looks all the way up. I mean, yeah, the possibilities are truly endless. You have like a little under staircase storage area, maybe. I mean, who knows? That could be anything. And then you make your way here. Two longer areas, actually. Like, I was thinking maybe just storage in these two areas. I mean, really, it could even be like a secret entryway from the first floor. Who knows? And then here's the area underneath that second floor right there with 3 large windows. And yeah, that's the interior of this. It's very unique. I mean, doing the interior of this one will be very fun. So smash that like button, guys. Okay, next we have the humble log cabin. So a log cabin is simply a small log house. Now, the history of the log cabin is pretty much ancient. I mean, like these were one of the earliest forms of housing ever, dating back to ancient times. And in the US, this was pretty much the first generation of homes built by settlers in North America. And now they've pretty much become very modernized. And they're very popular out in the western side of the US, mostly in like wooded areas, mountainous areas, and colder climates. Now, obviously, log cabins are made from wood, and they feature like very simple design. They're made to help you survive the elements, are usually built within nature. So they feature very simple, easy shapes. They usually feature like open floor plans, and they're very rustic because of all the wood accents here and there. Now, they come in all shapes and sizes today. I mean, I've seen log cabin like mansions today that are very modernized, but ideally like the original log cabin, they were usually smaller in design because of how simple they were to build. And they were usually just designed to survive like the cold and the natural elements. So yeah. So here in Minecraft, you can see I have kind of like a medium-sized log cabin made from spruce mostly and dark oak wood. Now I wanted to keep this like very monochromatic to kind of get that rustic feel. And yeah, I think I definitely achieved that here. We have, you know, we have this like kind of in the middle of like a taiga. I think that's the perfect environment to build one of these, or like a snowy taiga. And yeah, it looks awesome. You can see we have all of the logs exposed everywhere, whether that be in the front and the walls. We even have like the oak log exposed everywhere with the framing. I wanted to have tons of exposed wood, logs, spruce, oak, whatever. So I think it came out great. Very rustic feel, very rugged as well. I love the front here, utilizing these barrels. I think the barrels look really cool. They're like they almost look like a reinforced log. And you can see we have 2 kind of square windows in the front and a central door here, as well as like a front porch area that you step up to. I love this like extension of the roof. It's like I took the roof of the actual log cabin, extended it all the way to kind of cover our like front porch area as well. It's very tall, but it looks really cool. You can see we have some minor detailing, decoration here, little table, some firewood, little table here, potted plants and such, lanterns, etc. And then like a little frame I made out of fence and fence gates. Let's go to the side profile here. You can see I actually didn't go for a symmetrical design, as you can tell from the top here. I did a larger dormer on this side of the house, as you can see. And we have like our wooden pillars right here, double wooden pillars. And then we have like decorations in between each one with a tall window in each of these 2 sections. So, and then here's our dormer up here, our large dormer, as you can see. And then coming around the back, it is very symmetrical in the back. I got rid of the balcony or porch area, just a very smaller kind of porch that you step down to exit the house at the rear. So very simple in the back here. And then on the final side here, you can see I went with a lot of asymmetry. So we have a small dormer right here. I love how like you can see all the logs and they're exposed right there. Then this section is just some extra detailing with some barrels, a little window. And then this section, I wanted to do something different. So we added a little fireplace chimney area up here. Since these are probably built in like colder climates, I think it's very important to have a chimney or a fireplace. So now let's make our way to the interior of the log cabin. Very simple. Open floor plan. I mean, like this thing is just kept completely open right now. I left a little area here to add our fireplace. Now you could add like a second story. I think in a log cabin, it's probably cooler to have like a loft area. Maybe I could make it like L-shape, like going along this wall and then this wall, or maybe just have it like only on this wall. But I think like a loft area would be the coolest to kind of keep that open floor plan kind of feel, while also utilizing more space. Now you could even have like a double loft area, like, you know, one on this side and one on this side. I think that'd be kind of cool too. So yeah, that's it for the log cabin. And all right, guys, last but not least, and probably my new favorite style of house after learning about all these houses, is Victorian. So the Victorian style of house originated in Great Britain around the mid-19th century. And it actually gets its name from Queen Victoria's reign, and that's why it's called Victorian. So these houses are heavy in detail, individuality, artistic design, etc. And they are designed to be asymmetrical because they have tons of character and depth. Generally, they're made from either brick, stone, or wood, or all. Usually they're like a bit taller in their design, which also means they usually have like taller windows as well. They often have like a front porch. It can even be like a wraparound porch. They have super high level of detail and charm. They can actually be all different sizes from small, medium to large, because despite what you might think, Victorian style homes were actually designed for all classes of people, whether they were poor, middle class, or rich. I think most people think of Victorian houses as like these larger mansion type homes. But if you look at like something like San Francisco, for example, there's actually a lot of like smaller Victorian homes there. Obviously, they're still worth $1 million for some reason, but you know, back in the day, they were designed for like the more middle, low class citizens. So they're often associated with like haunted houses or even like fantasy houses as well. But yeah, they're very, very unique style of house that I actually fell in love with after making this video. As for the interior, you know, they're heavy and detailed, charm, the history, they're very art inspired. They have usually closed off rooms, and they're about 2 to 3 stories tall, generally speaking. So here, guys, in Minecraft, you can see this gorgeous and utterly beautiful Victorian style house. Now, in my opinion, this is the best house that I actually built here on the list, because wow, like this is a gorgeous, gorgeous house. Now, this one also probably took me the longest as well. It's either this or the contemporary house, but wow, it came out so great. So let's start with the block palette, because this is very unique. I went with, I really wanted to challenge myself, so I went with the Crimson Logs. No one uses this block to build ever, but I really wanted the challenge. I accepted it, and yeah, it came out like awesome. I'm so glad that I chose that block palette. It looks great. And as for all of the roofing pieces, I just went with the prismarine bricks, the dark prismarine. Yeah, like that teal as well as that purple, they work so well together. Now, those are two very bold colors. So to ground it out, I kind of went with like the jungle / mud brown look. It's a great neutral tone to kind of even things out and balance the crazy colors that I have going on here. And then I also have a little bit of birch accents on the first story here. So yeah, I mean, like, guys, come on. This house is amazing. Like, wow, look at this. All right, so let's kind of go over all of the details, because there are a lot of details here. So let's start with like the biggest and most obvious, which is this front wrap around porch. So you can see front and center, you have a little staircase, you enter the porch, you have the front door right there. And, you know, you can also enter to the side right here. So this porch is like wrap around, goes all the way around the side. You can see. You can even enter up here on this side, and it even continues all the way to the rear of the house. And you see here's the back door of the house as well. And there's even like a little side entrance on this side as well. So yeah, very awesome wrap around porch. Now, I love what I did with the bottom, actually. I used the copper grates, and I think those look awesome. It's a very underutilized block, actually. They look really cool. That came out great, and then I used like the mud wall block as like almost like stilts holding up the balcony. You can see tons of detailing here, like even in the floor, I added like so many different wood types. I have like jungle going through, the dark oak, the birch, etc. So it's really cool. I even alternated the fence design here with the jungle and the birch. Detail with the trap doors, lanterns everywhere, little arches here and there for the entryways. Yeah, this porch came out really cool. So, and you guys can obviously add whatever you want. Like up here, you guys can add like more potted plants, little tables, like whatever. I even have like little hanging plants here and there. So I wanted to make it very artistic. So next up, let's actually talk about this kind of garden that we have on the left side. So you can see like I wanted to add like a larger garden kind of wrapping with our porch. So you can see I use like slabs and trapdoors to kind of line it. It's a very interesting look. And I went kind of half floral, half bush kind of design here. So it's very colorful, but it's still grounded because we have a lot of the green elements, as you can see. So very cool like garden design. I use like the coarse and the rooted dirt obviously on the inside. And that creates some cool contrast from the green of the bushes. Like if this was just grass, the bushes would kind of just blend in. So I wanted to use like the coarse and the rooted dirt. So very cool touch right there. And then you can see we have like subtle detailing with the bushes, the new cactus flower. We have another one of these gardens here on the side, as you can tell. Let's actually make our way to the side and let's talk about this side entry staircase that we have. It's very cool. It's right back here. It goes up and this leads us straight to the second floor with a double door. So very unique, as you can see on the side. But let's make our way back to the front and let's talk about like kind of what's going on up on the second floor here. We have almost like a little tower design, but it's very well integrated and attached to the house. So from the inside, it won't even look like a tower, but from the outside, it looks like a tower. It's very cool, very well integrated. Looks really awesome. It gives it that like tall peak design, as you can see. And then we have like a little extension bit right here with a window that kind of comes out very uniquely shaped. Like I wanted to kind of add a curve to it. So you can see I kind of took out the corner piece and it makes it very curvy. And I love this mud kind of frame block at the bottom here. Kind of like grounds out the tower and the extension bit. Very nice. And yeah, you can see we have our jungle trapdoors as our shutters. We have like little potted plants and decorations in front of our windows. Tons of lanterns everywhere to keep everything lit up. And yeah, so that's the front curb appeal of the house. Looks great. Let's actually make our way back to this side now. You can see the base frame of the house with the mud all the way through the bottom. We have another one of those mud accent stripes going through. And then for the top, I just added a jungle sign kind of framing right there on this little extension bit of the house. So very cool indeed. And I even added like a little dormer up here in the roof. It's a very like unique shape. I wanted to go for like, you know, these crazy hard angles and lines and shapes that the Victorian style houses are known for. So very unique dormer up there. I really like how that came out. And you can also see that, by the way, out of all the roof pitches and like the top of the roof here, like the peak line of the roof, it's a lot taller. They're shaped a lot different, as you can see. Adds for some unique character and charm that Victorian houses are known for. So let's make our way over to the rear of the house. It is a bit more symmetrical back here, but it's not exactly. And then we have an extension bit right here coming out of this wall. We have a small window way up there. And then again, I use a lot of that jungle sign trim at the top, mud brick trim in the middle, and then the mud brick trim at the bottom as well. And then you can see we have our copper grates down there. Very cool and unique design in the rear as well. And then on the last and final side here, we just have another extension bit right there. Also curved out and angled. You can see I got rid of the corner blocks there. And this little bit just has a window. And then we have our jungle sign trim right over there. And we have the same kind of dormer up there as well. So very, very unique design on the exterior. Now let's make our way to the interior. So we enter the first floor and you can see I wanted to go for that very rustic kind of feel. Now, generally you would have closed off rooms here, So definitely I would close maybe like at least 1 or 2 rooms off on the first floor. Maybe you can leave a little bit more open here on the first story. But the floor is really cool. I went with like the checkered dark oak and spruce floor. It looks really cool. And then for the ceiling here, we went with like our pillar design. We definitely have a basement going down here with our 90-degree staircase. And yeah, we have 3 doorways. So we have the front, the back door, and the side door right there. So let's make our way up the stairs. And again, this one is about 3 stories tall. So I definitely wanted to go for like that 3-story Victorian house. So we have that going on here. So here's the second story here. So here's our little tower bit, you can see. Here is our side exit here that attaches to the staircase. So we have a little double door action going on there. Maybe this whole back section could be like a master bedroom even, you know, with like a doorway access. I think that'd be kind of cool. And yeah, you can section off maybe this area too. Like you can add some rooms here and there. Here's a little extension bit that leads out of this window. So yeah, very cool. And last but not least, we have the 3rd floor. Now, what I was thinking, and this just came to my mind, is we have like a ladder, and this leads you to this kind of 3rd story area. But I was thinking of leaving it more open, having like railings here on the side and making it like a little mini library, you know, like up here. I think that'd be really cool. So whenever I do the interior, guys, honestly, this house's interior I think would be really, really cool. So definitely like the video, guys, so you can show me that you enjoyed this, and I will definitely make the interiors of all of these houses. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and comment below if you would like to see me do full interiors on each of these houses. The world download is available on my Patreon, and don't forget to join my Discord server, where we'll be having build competitions, and participants will get access to my SMP Minecraft server. If you enjoyed all these houses, check out this video here where I show you how to build a town.